Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negro. For the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with this channel or watching this channel for the first time, whether it be live on the playback, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense is because here on this platform we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions, but not everyone uses logic. So that reason it is called Uncommon Sense. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And I see we already had someone to comment. Yes, Don Armando, you are the first one here. That's a fact. So, if you have not done so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification to all. So whenever I do prepare content, you will have the opportunity to either catch it live, catch it on the playback. I also want to let people know that the subscriber mode is currently on. Meaning, if you wish to enter a comment and chat, you will need to be a subscriber. It's my attempt to make sure that this platform remains free of the trolls as much as possible. Okay, so that being said, hopefully tonight I won't have as many technical difficulties. And again, I have to apologize that I was using another computer due to the fact that I have misplaced. I lost my other computer that I use for these streams, but I got it back. And I also ordered a new computer, so I'll be able to improve the quality of the content. Okay. So that being said, we're going to get into the main topic. Okay. As you can see by the thumbnail, the topic for tonight is facing your fears. Now, why is this so important? First of all, because the reality is that everyone has fears. Okay. It could be something like as a child, being afraid of the dark, or being afraid of spiders, or being afraid of dogs, cats. Some people are afraid of being alone. Some people are afraid of rejection, and on and on and on and on. And sometimes we can be so overwhelmed with our fears that they control every aspect of our lives. But here, okay, really, maybe you can elaborate on that. Well, in any case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a link. If anyone, and I repeat, anyone wishes to join the panel, okay. Of course, there are those who prefer not to join the panel, but they will enter a comment in the chat, which is perfectly fine. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share an article that has to do with fears and phobias. Okay. I'm not going to try to screen share it here. I'm just going to read it here because it's just that I'll be perfectly honest, I'm too lazy. So here's an article called 10 Ways to fight your fears. Whatever it is that scares you, there are 10 ways to help you cope with your day to day fears and anxieties. These tips are for people who are coping with everyday fears. If you've been diagnosed with an anxiety related condition, okay. You know what? I'm not going to read the rest of that part. So I'm going to read to you some tips how to deal with your fears. Number one, take time out. It's impossible to think clearly when you're flooded with the fear or anxiety. The first thing to do is take time out so you can physically calm down. Distract yourself from the worry for 15 minutes by walking around the block, making a cup of tea, or having a bath. Number two, breathe through panic. If you start to get a fast heartbeat or sweating palms, the best thing is not to fight it. Stay where you are and simply feel the panic without trying to distract yourself. Place the palm of your hand on your stomach and breathe slowly and deeply. The goal is to help one get used to coping with panic, which takes away the fear of it away. And it looks like we have on here. Okay, so before I let my guest in, I want to let everybody know that the views of those who appear on the panel are not necessarily those of the hosts of the channel. Any attempt to copy the material without the consent of the host is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your rights to your image. Some of the views that people may be considered offensive to some viewers. If you do not like the content, you can block the channel and we'll add our guest. Good evening.
Good evening. How you doing?
Okay, how you doing, Armando?
I'm all right.
Hey, Irby, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Herbie.
So, so the topic for tonight is how to face your fears. So, and the fact
Yes.
of the matter is, we all have we all have fears of some sort. Okay, some of them may seem childish, others it could be because of some dramatic event. So, what's your thoughts on the topic?
Well, as I stated before, that most of my fears came through already. So I gotta face them now.
Is it something that you feel comfortable sharing here, or is it something you prefer not to get into?
Uh, well, it's personal, but but most of the fears that I had as a younger man, they came through.
Well, if you don't feel comfortable discussing it, I'm not going to obligate you to do so.
Got you.
Sometimes because sometimes trying to make a person share some painful memories can be doing more harm than good, and that's not the purpose of this platform here.
I hear you.
Okay, so I'm just reading an article regarding how to deal with your fears and anxiety. So another step, another thing we can do is face your fears. Avoiding fears only makes things scarier. Whatever you fear, if you face it, it should start to fade. If you panic one day getting into a lift for exam, it's best to get back into the lift the next day. Your thoughts on that?
I believe it's a good thing to face your fears because at the end of the day, whatever the fear is, you can overcome it.
That's true. That's true. And it does what it does. It does require a certain level of maturity to face those fears. fears. However, not everyone is that mature. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. Another technique that we can do in the facing our fears is imagine the worst. Try imagining the worst thing that can happen. Perhaps it's panic and having a heart attack. Then try to think yourself into having a heart attack. It's not just possible. The fear will run away the more you chase it.
Right.
What's your point of view?
I think that's correct about certain things.
Okay.
I don't know, but I'm hearing like a little playback. I don't know if it's my side or your side.
I don't know because okay, I think it's more on your side because I don't seem to be having um that problem with my audio.
All right, so I'll come back and I'll see whatever is going on.
Okay. Well, the link is there. You can free to try to come back.
All right.
Okay. So well, Donovan will try to take care of his audio. We're going to go to the next step in dealing how to face your fears. Look at the evidence. It sometimes helps us to change fearful thoughts. For example, if you're scared of getting trapped in a loop and suffocating, ask yourself if you ever heard of this happening to someone. Ask yourself what you would say to a friend who has similar fear. And let's see if we can.
All right, I'm back.
Okay. It seems like you took that took care of your audio problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just going into the next technique that we can do in trying to deal with our fears and anxiety, which is don't try to be perfect. Okay? Life is full of stresses, yet many of us feel our lives must be perfect. Bad days and setbacks will always happen. It's important to remember that life is messy. What's your point of view on that point?
I mean that is true because if you try to be perfect, your fears might come true, and you might end up disappointed.
Yeah. Look, the fact of the matter is, we can plan to do something, but there's certain variables that we have absolutely no control over. So it's best to deal with each situation calmly and rationally. Now, the next step that we can do is visualize a happy place. Take a moment to close your eyes and imagine a place of safety and calm. It could be a picture of you walking on a beautiful beach or snuggle up in bed with the cat next to you, or a happy memory from childhood. Let positive feelings soothe you until you feel more relaxed.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
One of my positive feelings is to go to Singapore one day and be in the hotel, not the hotel, I mean the airport,
Mm-hmm.
because they say that is one of the biggest airports and most modern airport in the world, the one in Singapore.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Now, the next step and how to deal with fear is to talk about it. Sharing fear takes away a lot of the scariness. If you can't talk to a partner, or friend, or family member, call. Okay. In other words, reach out to get some professional help. Um, but sometimes it can be difficult to share a fear with a loved one. because we fear that person may not understand us, or even worse, that person we might think that person will judge us. My thoughts.
When you share your fears with certain people, you have to be very careful on who you share it with,
That is true.
because at the end of the day, certain people will try to use your fear against you.
Yes, it is sad but true that we're living at an age that people would use your most valuable moments uh, a weapon against you. So you do
Like,
have
I'll
to
tell
be
you a story of mine.
okay.
After my mom passed away, I had an ex that used one of my vulnerable moments to screw me over. And she did that, so therefore, she had no mercy on sending me over the edge or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, even though I guess it was not part of I didn't want to do it, but I had to take vengeance in my hand. So I could actually say, thank God I didn't go to prison over that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. People they do certain things to try to deal with their fears. Unfortunately, some people may tend to use alcohol or drugs um, as a so-called um, trade. However, it can make the situation even worse. Um, and sometimes you can you actually better deal with fear by simply getting a good night's sleep, um, having a wholesome meal, and take a walk.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
I actually believe that's a healthy way to go, a healthy way to deal with things.
Yeah, yeah, because and I think the reason why people might tend to use alcohol and drugs, um,
It's to
it's
mask
kind
the
of
pain.
escape. Yeah, but the problem is it doesn't. First of all, it doesn't bring about the result that you want. And what happens is, if not careful, you could develop a dependency on drugs or alcohol or perhaps both.
Yep.
And and I have a feeling that some of these um, people in these YouTube streets, uh, they may have a problem with alcohol or drugs.
Of
It's just
course
that
they do, because at the end of the day, all the stuff that is historically inaccurate that they'll be spewing, I'm just saying certain parties, you could tell that's not a rational mind speaking.
yeah, that is true. Uh, and what people don't realize is when you consume alcohol, drugs, it does mess you up. You're not able to assess things properly, and you can make some very bad choices. Okay, and
Exactly.
some of those choices can have disastrous results. Like for example, if you go outside and try to operate a vehicle under the influence of alcohol or drugs, what can happen is you can get into an accident and you could injure or kill someone, or you can suffer be killed because what happened is when you're under the influence of alcohol or drugs, your reflexes are affected. So you're not able to respond quickly enough.
Right.
Now, another thing you can do to deal with this fear is to reward yourself. In other words, give yourself a treat. When you make that call, you have been ready, for example. Reinforce your success by treating yourself to a massage, a country walk, a meal out, a book or a DVD, or whatever little gift that makes you happy. What your thoughts about that?
I think that's what you should do. Reward yourself and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Don Jose, I'll have to go.
Okay, well, thank you very much for
So
stopping by,
it's nice to
and before that,
stopping by,
yeah,
and I wish you much success, Don Jose.
thank you very much. And I'm gonna actually, for those who have not done so, please subscribe to Don Amando's channel. He has some interesting content. Thank you very much for stopping by. Please be
You
safe.
too. You too.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share another article on this subject. Um, actually, and the title is Phobia's Treatment: How to Face Your Fears, and it was written by Amy Morin, who is a licensed clinical social worker. Okay, and the article was updated on February 17th of last year. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this article. Of course, anyone is more than welcome into the chat or enter the panel. So I think what's going to happen is with this stream, it's probably going to last maybe an hour um, because I see that traffic is very slow. Um, a little bit of fear is not. In fact, fear helps you to instinctively protect yourself from harm. You might feel help. Your fear might help you to recognize when you're about to do something dangerous and can help you make a safer choice. But you might find yourself fearful of things that aren't actually dangerous, like public speaking. Your fear of public speaking may prevent you from advancing in your career or participating in traditions like giving a toast at your best friend's wedding. If you really want to go on a vacation to Europe, but your fear of flying gives you pause, you might feel that like your fear is stopping you from living your dream. If you find that your fear holds you back or creates bigger problems in your life, facing your fears may help you to learn to better cope with the fear and ultimately overcome. Common ways of facing your fears are evaluating the risk, creating an action plan, seeing a therapist, and being sure not to completely avoid your fears. However, you may need to decide whether it's necessary to face your fear if it is not part of your daily life. So now we're going to be talking about evaluate risks. Sometimes fear comes simply from not knowing very much about the thing you fear. For example, you might be afraid of airplanes because it seems like you heard a lot about air incidents that lead to injury or death. However, if you look into the statistics, you might learn that the probability of death on a U.S. commercial airline jet is 1 in 7 million. In comparison, 1 in 600 for smoking. You can also learn more about what causes low bumps and jolts during the turbulence on an aircraft. It's simply the movement of air having an effect on the aircraft and If you buckle in properly, poses very little threat to you. Of course, less tangible fears is such being afraid of public speaking don't necessarily have statistics to help you learn more about the risk you perceive. But you can read about other people's successful public speaking ventures or learn more about public speaking strategies to help you to feel more confident. Keep in mind, just because something feels scary doesn't mean it's actually risky. Educate yourself about the risk you actually face by doing the things that scare you. Interesting. Now, another thing is called create an action plan. The key to facing your fears is to take one small step at a time. Going too fast or doing something too scary before you're ready can backfire. But it's also important to help moving forward. A moderate amount of anxiety is okay. Don't wait until your anxiety disappears before taking a step forward, or you may find yourself waiting for a change that isn't going to come on its own. The best way to create an action plan is to create a fear hierarchy made up of small steps. Here's an example how someone might face the fear of public speaking, using one step at a time using a form of exposure therapy. Number 1, stand in front of the mirror, give a 2-minute talk. Number 2, record yourself talking and watch it back. Number 3, practice the talk in front of a partner. Number 4, practice talking in front of partner and family member. Number 5, practice the talk in front of a partner, family member, and a friend. Number 6, practice the talk in front of a family member, a partner, and 2 friends. Number 7, give the talk at work. In some cases, virtual reality treatment may be an option to provide exposure therapy. This treatment has shown promise in treating post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay. So it's very interesting when you think about it. Just excuse me for a moment. Okay. What I like about this part is that it deals with concrete steps that help you with the fear of public speaking. With some people, that's a serious fear. Okay? Excuse me. So now the next thing you can do is seek a therapist. If you feel like debilitating, you aren't having much success in facing it on your own, or if it's related to a specific health condition, like an eating disorder, social anxiety disorder, or post-traumatic stress disorder, you can seek the help of a trusted mental health professional. If you have a specific phobia which is persistent and diagnosable anxiety disorder, you might not feel prepared to conquer fear on your own. A cognitive behavioral therapist can help desensitize you to your fears one small step at a time. Most mental health professionals are comfortable in treating a variety of fears and phobias, from fear of public speaking to arachnophobia, which I think is the fear of spiders. I could be wrong. Treatment may involve talking about the thing that scares you, practicing relaxing strategies, and managing your anxiety as you face your fears head on. A therapist can help you to go at a pace that is comfortable and healthy for you. Now, fear facing treatment may include the following: acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT. act involves accepting your fears in order to make them less threatening and less impactful in your life. Exposure therapy or immersion therapy. The underlying principle of exposure therapy is that through practice and experience, you will become more comfortable in situations that would otherwise avoid. In psychoanalytic theory, it aims to cure the fear or phobia by rooting out and solving the original conflict. So, so now we're going to discuss the difference between avoiding your fears and facing your fears. While avoiding the situation that you fear might make you feel better in the short term, avoidance can cause increasing anxiety in the long term. When you completely avoid your fears, you teach your amygdala, the fear center of your brain, that you cannot handle them. On the contrary, gradually facing your fears in small doses don't overwhelm you, may help you to increase anxiety, habituating your amygdala or letting your brain become accustomed to fear. According to an animal study published in this journal Science, the brain has to experience repeated exposure to fear in order to get over it. Researchers placed rodents in small boxes and gave them a mild shock. Then, over a long period, they placed the same rodents in a box without administering the shocks. At first, they were thrills, but with repeated exposure, they were able to relax. While animal research isn't directly applicable to humans, the thought behind facing fears aims to achieve a similar outcome. So now we'll discuss an interesting question. Should you face your fears? Let's see what's being said. You don't need to conquer every fear you have. A fear of a tsunami may not be disruptive to your life, everyday life, if you live 1,000 miles away from the ocean. But it may be a problem if you live on the coast and panic every time you hear about earthquake, storm, or high times because you might think of being in danger, or you might avoid going on vacation you will otherwise enjoy in an effort to avoid getting close to open water. Have an internal conversation with yourself about what your fears are stopping you from doing, and consider whether a problem that you need to confront. Are your fears causing you to lead less of a fulfilling life than the one you hope for? Number one, consider the pros and cons of not facing your fear. Write them down. Number two, identify the pros and cons of tackling your fears head on. Number three, write down write down what you might achieve or how your life might be different if you overcome your fear. And number four, read the list over the list to make a clear decision about what to do next. So now I'm going to be talking about the difference between fear and phobia. When determining whether you should face your fear on your own, it's important to understand the distinction between a noble fear and a phobia. When psychologists distinguish between fears and phobias, the key difference is the strength of the fear's response and the impact on a person's life. You might watch videos about airplanes or park your car near an airport in air when you can watch flights, land, and take off. Learning more about planes and being near them may help you to ease your fear over time. If you can actually do the thing that scares you to practice, you might use immersion exposure. For example, while it's difficult to practice flying on an airplane one step at a time, you might be able to induce a little anxiety. Imagine yourself getting on a plane. Think how it think about how it make how it feel to take your seat and how you will handle the feeling the plane taking off. Both fears and phobias generate an emotional response, but a phobia causes anxiety that is disproportionate to the perceived threat so much that it interferes with a person's ability to function. For example, while fear of flying may make you anxious about an upcoming trip or have considered an alternative means of travel, if you have aerophobia, a specific phobia surrounding flying, your phobia might impact your daily life, including spending an inordinate amount of time worrying about flying, even when the trip is intimate, avoiding airports, becoming anxious when planes fly overhead, having an inability to board a flight, or experience a serious psychological response like sweating, shaking, or crying if you have to board a plane. While treatment for phobia may very well include an element of facing the fear in the form of guided therapy, it may also include patient and alternate therapies. Now, I'm just going to continue. Um, the best way to conquer fear is to face it head on. But it's important to do so in a healthy manner that helps you move past your fear rather than in a way that traumatizes you. If you're having difficulty, I know a mental health professional can guide you and gradually through the situation that you fear. Being sure to first work on the thought patterns that keep you stuck. Okay. So as you can see here, based on these articles, these are some techniques um, to help you to deal with fear. Okay. And, and fear can come from, whether it be a fear of the unknown or maybe something about a situation that, that you heard happened and you are fearful that it might happen to you. Okay. Now, to be honest, there's nothing wrong with having a certain amount of fear because what it does do is it protects you from making poor choices. Okay. However, when the fear becomes to the extent that you are not able to enjoy life or you're not able to enjoy some things because of fear, that can cause a serious problem. So, okay. Remember, here we're trying to find solutions to everyday problems. So what I'm going to do is, just give me a moment. I'm going to share with you one more article, and then after that, I'm going to give you my final summary. If no one else enters the chat or no one else appears on the panel, and it's the name of the article is 6 Healthy Coping Strategies to Face Your Fears. Fear is a typical human emotion that can be overwhelming. Implementing strategies to cope with fear may provide relief. If you have difficulty facing your fears, you're not alone. Fear can activate a psychological response in a body that leaves us feeling overwhelmed. Fear might make you feel hopeless or like you have no control over yourself when emotions run high. By identifying and evaluating your fear may help you to cope with your fears. You can learn how to face your fear and implement healthy coping strategies. Okay. So the first thing you do is to evaluate your fears. It's natural to want to avoid things that scare you, but most of the time, avoiding your fears only causes you more anxiety because they continue to grow in your mind. When this happens, you may feel even more fearful the next time the situation arises. So, how should you decide whether to face your fear or avoid it? Facing your fear is healthy most of the time, but there may be situations where dealing with fear may put you in danger or cause harm to you or someone else, such as the fear, feeling fearful of walking alone at night. In that case, avoiding what causes fear may be ideal. In this situation, you may feel experience a rational threat to your own safety or the safety of others. Now we're going to talk about the difference between fear and phobia. Fear and phobias are closely related. Fear is an emotion that you experience when you face a threat. Sometimes your fear can be imminent danger or perceived danger. Phobias involve excessive fear or anxiety related to a specific situation or object that impacts your daily life. Phobias may elicit anxiety or fear that may be out of proportion to the actual danger, but how you feel is valid. For example, some people are afraid of flying on an airplane. The risk of crashing in an aircraft is relatively low compared with other modes of transportation. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to discuss 6 strategies to help navigate fear. And the first one is make an action plan to face your fear. Facing your fear makes them less threatening the next time you deal with the situation. It can be tough to face your fears if you're emotionally overwhelmed. Creating an action plan through gradual exposure may help you if you're fearful. For example, an action plan that gradually exposes to the public speaking in an event may look like this. Developing your speech with an audience in mind. Practicing your speech alone in the comfort of your home. Practicing your speech in front of a small group. Imagining yourself on the stage giving your speech with a positive outcome. Going to the place where you have to give this speech and getting familiar with it. Practicing your speech at the venue if possible, and delivering your speech at the event. These steps can help the final speech feel less intimidating because you have worked on it. Number 2, mindfulness. Practicing mindfulness is a great way to overcome fear. Mindfulness is about having intentional awareness of the present moment. Number 3, practice deep breathing. Deep breathing has a variety of benefits. When emotions flood you during a fear response, deep breathing can promote relaxation and provide a sense of calm. Deep breathing can help reduce fear, psychological activation, and help you feel calmer. Number 4, try progressive muscle relaxation. Progressive muscle relaxation, or PMR, is the act of tensing and relaxing the muscles in your body. Fear and anxiety all cause you to feel tense, and PMR can help alleviate tension and promote a state of relaxation. Number 5. Find humor in this. One method of lightening the fear is making it funny. Suppose you can find a way to crack a joke or about a situation, or find humor in a fearful situation. It, it can help elicit different emotions surrounding the fearful stimuli and make them less intimidating. And number 6, when all else fails, seek professional help. If you have difficulty implementing strategies to overcome fear, it may be time to seek professional help. A mental health professional can help you learn how to cope with fears healthier. And, and we're gonna park it here. So basically, part of fear is the unknown. But once you become knowledgeable, that fear is not as threatening. So just be mindful that we all have fears. However, you decide when you feel ready to confront your fears. And if you're unable to confront your fears, by all means, seek help whenever. Seek help. Okay, and do not feel ashamed for seeking help. But what is the big shame is if you have a problem and then you do not try to get help to deal with the problem. That's where the shame is. So that being said, uh, I suspect that more people will watch this on the playback. Okay. Um, and like I said, one thing to bear in mind that fear is a response to a situation that we have no knowledge to. Now, before I go, uh, let me just share with you what's going to be the topic for my next stream, which will be this Thursday at 9 o'clock. Okay. And the next thing I think will be women's achievements in sports. Okay. So we're going to be looking about what the areas where women have been successful in sports, whether it be soccer, whether it be tennis, whether it be basketball, whatever. Okay. Because the whole point that we must bear in mind that there's many things women can do that women can do, and sometimes women can do a better job at it. However, sometimes we don't like to admit it because we have a thing called an ego, and then there's a thing called the battle, or so-called the battle of the sexes, which is basically competition. Okay. As far as my main channel is concerned, our channel, which is Latina Diaspora, it will probably I'll probably do a stream either Saturday or Sunday. I will announce that um, on my next stream on Common Sense. Okay. Um, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to wrap this up. Okay. And it happens where you have a small audience, but you know what? It's okay because when everything is said and done, I was able uh, to discuss the topic, which is how to face your fears. And it may not be it may not be all that exciting for some people, but you can't always have exciting topics. I mean, you have to think outside the box, so to speak. Well, in any case, I, I do appreciate all the love and support that all of you have given me. And before you go, I just want to give a huge shout out to my union sister Keisha, Wine and FaceTime, because she had now have over 200 subs. Okay, and I really appreciate that, and I'm proud of her for all the growth that she has made regarding her channel. Okay, it's okay. I say with a lot of pride that I'm happy for her, and I'm happy whenever any YouTube creator grows in a positive way, because unfortunately these YouTube streets are filled of negative people who will do anything just to get views or subs and what have you. And the fact that she chose to do so in a positive light, that's a good thing. And I'm proud of her. I just want to say that I'm proud of her, and may she continue to achieve success on her platform. And I'm going to ask you to please, if you're not done so, please subscribe to our channel and set the bell notification to all, so therefore whenever Keisha of Wine FaceTime produces content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. So that being said, I'm going to wrap this up, and as always, please be good to each other, and thank you very much for all those who will watch it live, and for all those who watch it on the playback. So that being said, this has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negro, wishing you all a pleasant night and peace.
Be strong. Be strong.